One of my favorite budget-friendly meals that's high in fiber, it's easy to make, it always satisfies cravings, and it feels like I'm cheating when I'm not. It's eating appetizers for dinner. Do you ever do that with friends? You go out to a restaurant and you just order every appetizer on the menu and just graze your way through the meal and socialize? That's something that I did a lot of when I was a younger woman, and now that I'm aging solo and really prefer just to stay in and kick back and get cozy with a blanket and a movie, that having a appetizer dinner, a tapas meal, that's one of my favorite things to do, and that's what I'm putting together tonight. I'm making a layered bean dip. I've got a avocado crema recipe that I've never tried using a dairy-free yogurt, a savory one, and then I'm making my own chips. I've already taken the corn tortillas and used my pizza cutter, just cut them into wedges, and then I spray them with lime juice. They're baking in the oven right now, and I'm putting together the base. I will be eating this dip cold, though I just got my pinto beans. I made a huge batch of these, and so these have thawed out, and I'm going to mash these right now and then season them and add in some collard greens. I put greens in nearly everything. It's something that I learned to do when I was still parenting. I've been an empty nester a long time, though. I always hid greens in all of the foods to ensure that my son got plenty of vegetables when he was a kid. And I love greens. I grew up eating greens. It's just something that I like to do to really give my food a nutrition bomb. So what I'm going to do now is just take this, put it in the pan. I just want to warm it so I can season it and get the collard greens in there, and then cool before I start layering the dip and then put that in the fridge. So let me put all this together and then I will show you how this all turns out. I just wanted to lower the camera a little bit just so you'll be able to see the pan and everything and how I put this together. And whether you follow a plant-based diet, or maybe you're just plant curious or wanting to add more plants to your diet, or have a meatless Monday, these are some of the great ways that you can not only save a lot of money, but eating plant-based, for me, I adopted this lifestyle after doing the high protein thing. I followed a gluten-free diet. I've tried many different meal plans over my life, and this works for me. It's something that came about later in life, and I found that it's really economical, it's easier to digest, and it really helps me to maintain a healthier weight. Now, even though I said I want something a little bit on the cool side for dinner, it is kind of chilly out tonight, and that always makes me want to have something warm too. So I've shown these before, and I'm not sponsored or anything. These Millie's sipping broths, this is the spicy tortilla one, and so I will make a mug of that. So I've got the blend of a hot beverage. I'm craving something really savory tonight and really spicy for my dinner, so that will pair really well. And then for dessert, I haven't quite decided. I've got a mango, which it seems like it's ripe enough for dessert that I could cut up, and put the lime juice and chili powder on there. So I might have that. Or I also have frozen fruit, and I make my own sorbet. It's called Nice Cream, and mainly using a base of frozen bananas. And I also have frozen blackberries. I've got strawberries in the freezer, and so I could combine a couple of different things and put together a sorbet, add a little bit of cocoa powder, or even have some peanut butter powder. I will just see how I feel after the meal, since it's going to make a fairly good size. I won't eat all of this. I'll probably just eat about half of this tonight. That's another plus of the way I eat the way I do. It just freed me from all of the years that back in my 20s, I did Weight Watchers, I did the counting calories and all that type of thing. I don't do any of that anymore. I eat when I'm hungry. I stop before I'm stuffed, and I eat until I'm satisfied. That's the basics of this whole meal plan. It's really, really been a bonus for me. I will put the information in the description below if you're interested. My meal plan is called the Starch Solution. Dr. John McDougall and his wife Mary McDougall, who is a registered nurse, put this program together, I would say at least over 40, maybe even 50 years ago. It's been around that long, and when I learned about it, I had been teaching nutrition at the academic level, and I had no idea. It was shocking to me after I dove in and was led to this program. And well, I shouldn't even call it a program. It's a meal plan. It's a lifestyle. And I went in feet first, face first, fork first, and it has saved my life, literally. I am one of Dr. McDougall's, he calls them Star McDougallers. Oh, there are my chips. Hang on, I'm gonna pull those out and see if I can show you how brown and crispy they are. Okay, so here's where they're at right now. It doesn't, you can see a little bit of the browning on here, though some of the chips are still a little soft. So I will let them keep cooking in here. Give them probably another 2 or 3 minutes. Because I honestly like my chips on a little bit of the darker side, and when they come out of the oven, then I will spritz them with the lime juice again as they cool, and it just gives them a really nice citrusy taste. The lime juice really sticks well, and it doesn't make them soggy or anything. I use those little spritzers that you get from the dollar store. I've shown them in other videos before. I got this in the beauty section, and I put all sorts of condiments in these, from pickle juice to lime juice to lemon juice to vinegars, things like that, just when you want a hint of a flavor on there without making anything really heavy. This is a really good way to just spray an extra flavor on like a salad or rice, things like that. But anyway, if you don't know me, my name's Tiffany. I am the founder of Anderson Therapeutics. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, if you've subscribed and you've been here before, welcome back. This Aging Well channel it's a broad topic. It's all about my holistic approach to aging well, and I have been a health educator for many years. I have been a patient advocate, a wellness coach, and alternative healthcare provider since 1996, and the approach to lifestyle medicine is one that's very customizable, and that is something that when I coach others or I talk to others about how they're eating, my advice has always been to eat what you like and simply accept the dietary consequences of your choices. It's as easy as that. That is something that I wholeheartedly embrace, and I just finished a 7-day mindful eating challenge that was interesting, and I'm starting up another series which will be all about the power of 5. Losing as little as 5 pounds can make an impact on our joints, and that's something, as a recipient of artificial hips, since I am a bionic woman now, that I am particularly careful about how I move, how I exercise, how I feed myself, because those joints came at a time where it was unexpected. I didn't have a fall, I didn't have an accident, it was unknown etiology, and ensuring that I can take those artificial joints all the way to the end of my life is something that my surgeon told me that I can achieve as long as I take good care of myself. So I am investing in my health, and I want to share all of this with you. There, I talked long enough, I can show you the chips. Let's see if that extra few minutes, I added 3 more minutes. Oh, okay, all right. Oh, the ones on that side. Okay, I might just have to turn. My cookie sheet, as you can see, has had a lot of life. I am one of those that I pinch pennies, and I want to get every dime out of the things I buy because I work multiple jobs and I want to stretch my money and make sure that I use things until they're completely done. Well, let me get a few seasonings here and then I will show you how I season the beans, cook the beans, get those cooled down, put together that crema, and I'll show you the end result. Okay, so I've got the pinto beans in the pan and I've given them just a very light smash here with my veggie masher. There was quite a bit of liquid in here, which I was fine with. I didn't want to drain it since I want this to cook down. And I'm going to be adding some dry seasonings along with some frozen collard greens. When I cooked the pinto beans, there was an onion in there and some garlic, but they still needed a little bit of help. So I'm also going to add some dried onion in here and just put this on low. Because I don't need to heat this or anything. It's just simply bringing all of the flavors together. I've got some cayenne, so I want it to have just a little bit of heat. So I'm just shaking on a little bit of that. This is how I usually will prep things for me and not necessarily measure. I'm adding some cumin on here and I will just shake it across the top and that just gives me a sense and then I can just taste accordingly. A little bit of sea salt since I'm layering a bunch of things. I don't want to go crazy on salt. And then I'm adding black pepper as well. I learned with a lot of curries and other type of dishes that when you layer different types of peppers, it's really good for heart health and the flavorings. It packs a different type of punch with different peppers. There's another nutritional yeast. This is the cheesy go-to for those of us who follow a plant-based diet. And it gives us a nice little tang as well. And when I put in the frozen collard greens, this is one that this bag had quite a bit of stems in here and I don't mind that. I put greens in my oatmeal as well and I will usually pull out the woody stems in my oatmeal. It's not that I mind the taste at all. It's these, pieces of the stem that I don't necessarily want that type of a woodiness, and it would be okay in here. I'll leave the small ones, like this size, I would leave in there because it's going to be on a chip with all of these other ingredients, so it's not a big deal. Now a lot of the liquid is already cooking out, plus there's going to be a little bit of liquid in the collard greens. All I'm wanting to do is to defrost the greens, mix all of these spices together with the beans, and then give it a little taste test so I know the flavor of the beans, because everything else that I'm going to pair on top of this, there's going to be salsa, and then I will have the crema on the top. And then I will add a few little embellishments like some chopped cilantro, some radishes, and then some purple onion across the top. Let me check on those chips. They should be really done by now. Yes, they're perfect. Okay, now I can show you. This is the golden, you can hear how, hopefully you can hear how crunchy those are. All right, the beans are plenty warm enough and put together. Now this is where I take my lime juice. I will just gather the chips in a little bundle in the center, give them a light spritz so they can cool down. Give my beans a taste test here, see if they're spicy enough. Yeah, there's just enough heat. And if I needed any extra liquid with the beans, that's where I would use something like lemon or lime juice with that, just to contrast with the greens, just to add a little bit of brightness and freshness like you would use with spinach and things like that. I pair a lot of citrus in my foods. So I'll get everything ready for the crema and let the beans cool down and show you how I layer it. Okay, that little pause there gave me time to tidy up the kitchen, and then this cooled down a little bit so you can see that I've got all of the beans and the greens all in here, and they are just barely at the just warm level, but it'll be perfect timing as I put together the crema. And I've got a plant Greek style yogurt here. And then the recipe called for 1 avocado, though what I got a bunch of these little mini guacamole things recently with Super Bowl and everything. You know, if you watch the sales, then these things, at least at my Kroger, they go on clearance all the time. So I had a bunch of these left over that needed to be used up. So that looks about the size of 1 avocado to me. I've already got the 1.5 tablespoons. It called for lime juice. I'm just going to use lemon because I want it to be really tart, which will go really well with the Greek yogurt. And just blend this all together, put that back in the fridge while I get the vegetables put together, and then layer everything up, and it'll be great for dinner. You know, one of the things that I like to do as I'm exploring different recipes is not only do I watch a lot of cooking shows and a lot of other content creators, I have plenty of cookbooks on my shelf because I'm of the generation where I do like paper. I go to the library, but I will use even chat or one of the AIs, and I put in there, you know, that I had some of this guacamole and I wanted to create kind of like a mock sour cream type dip using this along with that avocado guacamole that I already had prepped, and boom, it just gave me the perfect little recipe. And it was easy for me to adjust it down since I am just cooking for 1. So what I'm doing right now, I just have a 1/4 cup of the yogurt. I'm putting that in the container that already has the lemon juice, and like I said, you could have used lime if you wanted. I love to modify recipes based on what I have, for one thing, and for my own taste buds, because this calls for cilantro, and I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like or have that aversion to cilantro because it tastes like soap to them. It doesn't to me. I absolutely love cilantro. So it called for 1/8 of a cup. I'm just eyeballing it since that is such a small amount. I'm just grabbing a little bundle, and I use the stems, especially in a sauce like this. There's a lot of flavor in the stem. And then here is that little pre-made guacamole, and this was extra spicy. That's why even though I did put some cayenne in the beans, that's a lot of the base there, and so it could stand to have a little bit of extra spice in there because of the amount. And with all of this layering and having the chips that, in my mind, they're not bland. I love the taste of corn tortillas, and I don't add salt to them simply because all of this other stuff has salt on it. So I am an older adult. I do have heart disease in my genetics, and that has been part of my world too, is adopting a plant-based diet reduced my blood pressure and my cholesterol and got me off medication. So that was another win for me. Just mushing this all together, the last little bits that this recipe called for, and it said a little bit of water if you needed to thin it. I don't want it to be thin. And that's about 1/2 clove of garlic, and then I'll wait to salt after I get this all blended up. Now you could definitely put it in a a little blender or something if you wanted it extra creamy. I like texture. I make these savory oat patties that I almost considered crumbling them and mixing them in with the beans just for a little added texture, though I don't have a lot of those left from my last batch cooking. And I really like to have those with sandwiches. That's another way that this could be a little more texture heavy for those who are looking for that and like that sensory. I know other people like things extra creamy. Let me give this a little taste. Yeah, it's really good. Really spicy. Really spicy. And very tart. I like that. This Kite Hill brand of, not being sponsored or anything, I haven't used this much. It's something that I got from Whole Foods because I had a discount off of Amazon. And this Greek style, it's a soy and a almond blend. So I'll need to use this really quickly. I may be able to freeze it, but I'll probably just use it for sauces. I want to make a dish with the cucumbers and onion and a little bit of vinegar and some lemon, and have that with like some falafels. So that's another reason that I purchased that. So let me get this all prepped, get more veggies cut, and we'll put the salsa on and finish the layering. All right, now I'm ready to layer everything together and put the added little embellishments across the top, stick it back in the fridge, and then I'll be all set for my dinner later tonight. Got some of the salsa. This is just a grocery store brand. Again, a little on the spicy side, so I'm looking forward to giving all this a taste tonight. I've made a variety of these over the years, and they always turn out a little bit differently. Sometimes I have a lentil base. Sometimes I just take some vegetarian refried beans. I love this type of dining because it's really versatile, and it's a really great way just to clean out leftovers from the fridge too. It's like making a rice bowl. It's like making a big salad. There's just so many ways that you can stack things and make use of what you have on hand, and then kind of play with the flavors and see what you like best. I definitely have my favorites. I hadn't cooked pinto beans in a long time, so this will be a new taste blend. Got one little layer of salsa on here. Now I'm gonna put that avocado crema that I just made, and there's quite a bit in here, so I'm gonna start slow, as I'm almost wondering if I want to save just a little bit, because I made a big, or I should say I baked a huge oven full of baked potatoes, and having like a Mexi stuffed potato would be delicious. And this is going quite far, so yeah, this is great. It's giving just enough to cover here, and then there's a good sized portion in there to set aside in a little container. And now I will sprinkle on, I've got chopped purple onion on here. Gonna add some chopped radishes. And let me know in the comments if you eat appetizer meals, if you have like a tapas dinner, or you think like things like taco bars or baked potato bars. Those were some of the favorite meals when my son was still home. And especially with entertaining, it's just so versatile, because then everybody can just mix and match and grab what they want. And more cilantro on here. And that will be perfect. You know, the nice thing about this too, since I will just put a little bit of plastic on here and keep the leftovers, because like I said, with my chips that I already made, and with this right here, now this is basically a quiche pan. This is what I've had this for a long time. Back when I was on a high protein diet. I will eat about half of this. And then the rest, I could either, do the same thing, make more chips, though I could easily take this and heat it up a little bit and put it on a baked potato. There's so many versatile things. I could wrap it, put it in a tortilla. there's just a number of ways to enjoy meals like this. And I hope this was useful. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Give this a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe if you haven't already, and check back again. Have a good evening and dine well to age well.